Like many people, my introduction to Fire Emblem was the Super Smash Bros. Series, but I never really thought much of it. Sure, I felt like the series had a lot of representation. I was one of those people who complained about there being too many Fire Emblem characters, and even though I love JRPGs, I felt like saying that Smash had too many anime swordsmen in the form of Fire Emblem representation. When I looked into the Fire Emblem series, I only saw the bad reputation it got, which during this time was when Fates just released, so all I heard was that Fire Emblem was this weird anime game with incest. So of course from the point of view of an outsider, I would have a pretty negative opinion on the series. Add that, and with the fact that turn-based strategy just looked boring to me, and you have years of missing out on some amazing games, despite the fact that I love turn-based games for their strategy, and somehow adding more strategic elements somehow became a turnoff for me. My thinking was, oh, this is just chess, and I don't really like chess, therefore I really wouldn't like Fire Emblem. And I have never been more glad to be wrong in my entire life. Once I tried out 3 houses, my eyes were opened. I can't believe I turned this series down for so long.
Oh my god. I get
It's amazing! When I first played Smash, I never really had anything to say about the Fire Emblem characters. This was back during Brawl. I just saw Marth and Ike as those dudes from Fire Emblem and moved on as they didn't really interest me. All I knew is that Smash was able to bring Fire Emblem to a Western audience, but that was about it. I sometimes fought them here and there, but I never really thought anything of them, so I moved on. Then moved to Smash 4. This was when we got more Fire Emblem characters and when they really got criticized by Smash fans, and looking back at it, yeah, it was pretty silly. Mario had a ton of representation, so does Pokemon. Granted, they're more popular franchises, but Fire Emblem seemed to get targeted, probably because it's the one thing Nintendo fans hate, an RPG. I felt quite neutral on that at the time as well. I thought Corn was cool. I mean, yeah, there were feet jokes about them since, they had their dogs out for some reason, but more power to them. I guess it doesn't hurt anyone. I made some Fire Emblem representation jokes here and there, but once again, I never really felt that strongly about it unless it was on their movesets, which was kind of valid since some characters have similar moves, but it never really bothered me. I still felt the same when Ultimate came out, until Byleth was announced to join the roster as DLC, and as much as I'm ashamed to admit it now, I was quite disappointed back then. But hey, what are you gonna do, man? I was a stupid kid who thought, yeah, let's listen to what the haters have to say about how Byleth is a waste of a character slot, instead of trying the game out for myself and forming my own opinions. Why would I do such a thing? After that, I grew up and went back to it not really thinking much of the series. I remember Engage getting announced, but I didn't really care much for it. I wasn't a Fire Emblem fan. Until a few months ago when I was sent an image of the character Petra from 3 Houses by a friend of mine in the morning after I got out of the gym. And I was interested. She looked cool, and that got me to buy the game out of sheer curiosity. And then the game sat there on my shelf for quite a while, still in the plastic, waiting to be played. And also because I was busy being a bum playing Tomodachi Life, my gacha games, and of course Helldivers. But after enough time, I remembered that hey, I did buy this game because there's that character my friend showed me that I like, and it would make for an awesome video for my channel. So after a few weeks of procrastinating, I finally got around to playing the game. I booted the game up, and my god, it was one of the best games I ever played. It's going up there in my top 10, maybe even my top 5. But now that we're all caught up with my history of Fire Emblem, let's go ahead and get talking to what you clicked on the video for. The combat of Fire Emblem consists of moving your characters around the map and having them perform certain actions on the map in turns. Different characters have a different amount of spaces they can move, such as Wyvern Lords and Falcon Knights boasting high mobility, with some other classes having much lower mobility, such as the Fortress Knight having terrible movement at the threat of high defense. You constantly have to keep in mind what the strengths and weaknesses of your units are, which often makes you think about what you should do with them. For example, I can't send out my Falcon Knight on their own. They can get killed by an enemy sniper as they're weak to arrows, so I should send in someone who can take that aggro from the snipers and not take as much damage from it. Or I could send in Bernadette and have her snipe the snipers before the snipers can snipe me. Either way works. Sometimes the game will split up all your units, such as in one map near the end of my Silver Snow route, where all my units got split into 4 groups, making me think of how to play it safe until I get them to meet up at the center of the map. Then there was another map that divided my units into 2 groups. I was frustrated by this map for a long time, until I realized you could choose where your units go when the battle began. I then devised a strategy to have one side flee and meet up with the other side, I repeated the strategy for a while on this map, grinding levels because it was the beginning of the game. I might as well level up a bit. Since only Byleth and Edelgard were at good level, my other units could not take a single hit without dying. After a few hours, I finally figured out how to beat the map. The best part is when I had to do another battle in that map later on in the game, I had no issues. My units got split as usual, but I didn't have to worry about them getting jumped and dying since they were quite strong now and I was better at the strategy. Another part of the combat is weapon durability. When I first saw this, I thought it would be annoying like it is in Breath of the Wild. But no, it was never a real issue to me. If a weapon broke, I always had a spare on my units that they could use. It's not like I would run out of them since battle escaping money, which I could use to buy more weapons. So grinding levels was never really a problem for me. However, the durability of weapons was great. It made me manage the durability that I had in other weapons that I had on my unit, along with different weapons having different attributes, like a higher crit rate or extra range, making me want to get multiple weapons for my units for every kind of situation I could be in. The idea behind resource management added an extra layer of strategy, as I couldn't just go Leroy Jenkins into a map and expect to come out alive. You had to think about who was gonna attack what enemy unit, and if their weapon could handle being used if they were gonna counter the enemy or do a double attack. Additionally, there are also weapon arts which use more durability for more damage, making you think if it's worth trading off extra durability for extra damage, or just letting them do less damage and having another unit finish them off. Some other arts have greater range, like bows having arts that are great for killing units from far away, or some acts are trading away accuracy for damage, which in my opinion is terrible. Another feature of combat is Divine Pulse, which lets you turn back time to fix a mistake you made or to save a unit from dying. Now, I didn't use it too much when I first played, especially during part 1, but I got to use it more during part 2 when I had to save some units from dying because of mistakes I made in my strategy or having to turn back time because the battle had a surprise, making me turn back time to properly counter that surprise. Now, it's definitely a nice feature to have, but I have heard Fire Emblem veterans complain about the mechanic, and I'm not gonna comment on that since I still had to finish the other remaining 3 routes in my 3 houses playthrough, along with some other games. And of course, you also have magic, which has a certain amount of uses per battle. For example, Dorothea has access to an incredibly strong attack called Meteor, being able to hit enemies from across the map and damaging adjacent units. However, the drawback is that it only has one use, making you think about when would be a good time to use it since you only get to use it once. Like any other RPG, you're gonna have classes, and 3 houses is quite flexible with it, allowing any unit to use any class. And of course, every class is gonna have their own strengths and weaknesses, leaving you to strategize around your units by having another unit that covers that weakness to go with them. Along with classes, you also have the weapon triangle, so one unit can one-shot another unit but tickle another, because it wasn't the effective weapon type. Now, this is the mechanic that the series is known for, the infamous permadeath, something that initially kept me away from the series because I didn't want to spend so much time investing in a unit and having them die. In fact, when I first started playing the game, I picked out casual mode. After all, this is my first time playing, I might as well ease myself into it. But my good friend saw this and he was not having that.
Oh, you're playing on casual? Heh. Real Fodland Patriots play on classic.
So I took his advice and started a new save in classic, and it was a great piece of advice. It got me more attached to my units, making me think even more about how to get through battles without them dying, as if they did, they're gone forever. This made me not only care about keeping the units, but also made me appreciate them more and made me think extra about where I position my units, and if they could take another hit in battle, adding more tension to the battle. But also feeling more rewarding thanks to just how much more it made me think. And of course, permadeath also made me sure that Bernadetta did not die, as if she did, my friend would have crucified me if I let his favorite character die. All these mechanics come together to form a very entertaining combat system that rewards players for strategizing and managing resources, along with the fact experiences is shared amongst your units, meaning you have to make sure they're equally leveled or you will face consequences. I very much enjoy being in a situation where things seem tough, only to come up with a plan to get out of it, such as when I was on the final boss of my first playthrough. I would have lost a unit had I formed a strategy to save the unit, even though the situation for them looked hopeless. The game also features resource management outside of combat, with you having activity points when exploring. These activity points correspond to your professor level, making you plan out what you want to do for the day. You could also raise certain stats, or you could raise your bond with certain students that day. Additionally, you also have lecture points when teaching your students, dictating how many students you can teach in one session, making you plan to what students you want to focus on for that week. Additionally, students also have motivation, which maxes out at 100 and decreases by 25 every time you instruct them. This incentivizes players to max out the motivation of their students when exploring to maximize how much you can grow the skill of the specific student you're working on. At the start of each week, the game also gives you the option to battle, to explore, or to attend a seminar to raise the skill levels of Violet and specific students, and to rest, which gives your students a motivation increase and restores the durability of the Sword of the Creator once you acquire it. I didn't have any idea what the soundtrack would be like when I first started playing, but those battle themes are truly something else, man. Like Floating Wind, which at first I was like, it's alright, it's nothing special. But after enough battles, I grew to like the song. It was amazing, and the songs just kept on better and better and as I progressed. And when I got the DLC, the songs got even better. This game was great, and I regret not getting into this series sooner. The gameplay was great and engaging, the characters were a blast, and I'm still not done with it. I have other routes to complete. Fire Emblem showed me how to truly step out of my comfort zone and try something new, and I think every gamer should try games from genres they don't usually play. They may find a new favorite. And in these times, when a lot of games are quite boring with people refusing to branch out to other games, let alone other genres, it's important that they go try new games to play, especially the gun and ball gamers. The story was great, and I only did one route so far, and I honestly can't wait to get back into the game to do the remaining 3 routes. It was a great time, and it was well worth the money. Additionally, the game was so good it made me stop playing gacha games, hopefully for good.
Thank you. Thank you. Titan has freed us.
Oh, I wouldn't say free. More like under new management.
Hey guys, thank you for watching another video. While I was working on this video, I decided to change how often I upload. Weekly videos were nice, but it started to cause me a lot of stress after a while, leading to boring videos such as the boss music one, which felt low quality, uninspired, and frankly, it felt like a lesson as to what not to do for a video. So I will try to upload once a month now to ensure that uploads stay good quality and to give me time to brainstorm video ideas. This hopefully works as I like to play longer games, so that gives me time to beat them and hopefully make videos on them for you guys, along with giving me more time to make the videos, which should result in longer videos with higher quality as I'm taking more time, like I said, and it also leads to less stress. But with that, thank you for watching, and a special thank you to my friend that convinced me to play this wonderful game, and also to my other 3 friends that kept harassing me when I was not on Fire Emblem playing Tomodachi Live. So, you know, thank you, and of course, thank you too to the viewer for sticking through this video, and, you know, like, comment, subscribe, you know, it's YouTube, you know the drill. And until then, next time, I'll see you later.